Disclaimer. This is a work of satirical fiction. Any resemblance to real places or situations is purely coincidental and exaggerated for comedic effect. The story intentionally contains factual inaccuracies and absurdities as part of its artistic expression.
Jeff and Apples walk the street, talking about the sky so neat. Weather, weapons causing storms, globalists with secret forms. Jeff and Apples, what a pair. Whisper plots while breathing air. Apocalypse is on its way, but they still find time to play. But they still find time to play. But they still find time to play.
Well, I think Apples took off, but we got the little ranchero in his car here. Good times. We also got the goats. We got the sheep. We're back at the ranch. We made it through another in Acapulco. Lost a lot of money, but that's kind of just the way she goes.
That's the way she goes. That's the way she goes?
Yeah, you know, it's just one of those CIA operations where we always lose money and we're always like we're basically shadow banned everywhere. Anyway, let's get into this. It's been like another week. Time is just flying for me. It's incredible. But man, we got some stuff to talk about. A lot of people still have no idea what's going on. And I mean pretty much everybody, except for people who watch these videos. And maybe some people watch Max Egan's videos, David Icke, and that's about it. Everyone else has no clue what's going on. And it's pretty crazy. You know, just the fact that Mossad, Israel's intelligence service, also known as ISIS, by the way, the Israel Secret Intelligence Service.
We thought we should ask, what shall we call it in English? You can translate the Hebrew words, as I said, Mossad's Institute, but when they write a letter to their friends in the CIA or the British intelligence, what do they call themselves? It took a while. It was a matter of asking the Prime Minister's spokesman. The best you could do, because officially the Mossad is under the Prime Minister's office. And I think he sort of wondered why you want to know and all that, so we explained. And he came up with the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. I mean, if it were to have initials, it would be ISIS.
Went on 60 Minutes a few months ago and just dropped the truth.
We create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers. We're the main actors. And the world is our stage.
I don't know if anyone watches TV anymore, but I think they do because they're all still under the mind control. But I think most people just kind of just didn't think anything of that. They actually told the 100% truth, which is rare on television. But I didn't see any normies talking about it like, that was strange. They say they control everything. They're the global production company. Everything is produced, directed, and even acted by them, which is true. I'll get into that in this video. Like, this is the thing that most people still can't see, even though it's right in their face because they're under mind control. And like basically their entire lives under propaganda. Told about how Israel is our greatest ally and all this stuff. I'll get into that in this video. It's gonna be super anti-Semitic, this video. But they're not even Semites. I'll get into that in this video. Oh, it's so crazy. And no one can see what's actually going on. But they're actually doing all these things, and no one can even see that. And I mean everything. We're gonna get into that in this video. I got a lot to talk about. I'm gonna get right into it because this could be a long one. Again, my last one was 2 hours. If I go more than 4 or 5 days without a video, expect it to be a feature-length film when I'm done. And I'll be walking the entire time. And no script or anything. No real script. I have a few things I want to talk about, but this is all, there's no teleprompter here. I don't know how I do it, but I do. So let's get into it. So the last time I was in Acapulco talking about the Epstein files, which is pretty funny, because I recorded that 2 hours after they gave all the Zionist media the secret documents about a massive Zionist Mossad operation. It's kind of odd, you would think, but no one thought too much of it, again, because they can't see what's going on. And I said, As far as I know, no one's even released anything yet. And I said, but I'll bet they'll release something by the time this video is out. Nope. Zero. Nothing. We found out afterwards it was an entire binder of just black ink. And now it's been well over a week later, and still there has been nothing. It's been quite incredible. Quite incredible. It was even less than I thought that they would even, I thought they'd put out something, like just something. They put out nothing. And most people have forgotten about it. Not everybody, but most people. Your average person didn't even care about it anyway. But some people are aware of the whole situation, and even a lot of them, they all got sidetracked. As soon as Orange Man, the next day, yelled at Cocaine Man, all of a sudden, that's all anyone talked about. They've got them wrapped around their finger.
You haven't been allowed. We gave you, through the stupid president, $350 billion.
And yeah, that was it. Everyone's like, yeah, well, you really got him. You know, it's funny, because a lot of people, especially guys, will say, I can't believe anyone watches soap operas. What kind of person sits there for hours a day and watches this completely fake staged drama and gets all wrapped up into it and cares so much all about the characters? And then they put out their actors. I'll get into this. They're all actors. I'll get into this in the video. You just have to watch the video if you want to see all the proof. And everyone's all wrapped up. Oh, my guy got their guy good. It's like I'm going to get into what that's all about too in the Ukraine. This could be a long video. I better get into it. But anyway, so the Zionist media all came out with their binders. That's where we left off last week, just so you know, in this edition of Apples and Jeff. Oh, and by the way, I can't find Apples. I think she took off with my wife somewhere. They should be back soon. So we can't even have both of the right people on this show. It's not crazy. But anyway, so they came out with their binders. They're all dancing around. Everyone's like, yeah, here it is. They got it. And they're going to tell us what's in it. Well, they didn't say anything, none of them. And they all tweeted the exact same thing. Here's DC Drano. He's going to drain the swamp. Today I met with President Trump, VP J.D. Vance, AG Pam Bondi, and FBI Director Kash Patel in the Oval Office. They handed me a binder of the Epstein files. This is the most transparent administration in American history. Here's Jack Poso. AG Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash are heroes. This is the most transparent administration in history. Well, let's go to the next one. I don't even know what his name is. Prather. He said the exact same thing. I met with them and I left with an interesting souvenir. The Trump DOJ has everything. There was nothing in it. The most transparent administration in history. And here's Swig, the most transparent administration in history. That's all the people who got the binders, by the way. Yeah, we went from trust the science to trust the plan. We went from build back better to the most transparent regime in history. As it says that right on the cover. And inside, there's nothing. Do you even understand? Do you even get how incredibly hilarious these people are? And they're just laughing at you in your face, just putting it in your face. There was one of the Republicans, like of the GOP Congress something, like some big group in Congress, put out a tweet and said, here's the documents, and if you clicked on the tweet, you get rickrolled. They literally rickrolled everybody. They're like, yeah, here they are. They don't care. You know why they don't care? Because they've got everyone exactly where they want them. This thing's over. Most people are going to die now. I'll get into that in this video. You might want to stick around to the end to see how you're going to die, because they've already got most of you. They already got the nanotech in most of you. And you know, it's sad. It's sad that almost everyone watching this is going to die. Not because I care about the views or anything, doesn't really matter. I don't monetize anything, I can't, I'm shadow banned everywhere. But it's sad for you. That's And it really is. Like, they really have, they're going to be killing almost everyone on Earth now. Over the next year or so. This is what was in Deagle. They've already told everyone what's going to happen, and no one gets it. Anyway, I'll talk about that in this video. Like, I'll show you exactly what I mean. They've already done it. They don't care anymore. They're just having fun now as they kill all the goy. And most of the useful goy, and even most of their own people who think that they're in their club, but they're not. Because it's actually controlled by something not even human, which I'll get into that in this video. I got so much to talk about. I better get into it. So Polly St. George talked about the Binder people, and they're all like Zionists. Of course, everyone's a Zionist now, who's involved in any of this stuff, because they're all the producers, the directors, and the actors. Mossad's already said it. Mossad's motto is, make war through deception. They don't even lie about all the stuff they do, but no one can see it. So Polly St. George said, 5 people chosen to receive the Epstein binder are affiliates of the wellness company. This is significant because one of the co-owners worked directly for Eric Prince at Blackwater, and Prince is wrangling for a $25 billion contract right now. Yeah, Liz Wheeler, DC Drano, Ariana Wexler, Jack Pusselbeck, and Chad Prather all work for or basically promote the wellness company. And she also pointed out Seth Dillon of the Babylon Bee also was sponsored by the wellness company. And yeah, you heard that right. The person who runs the Babylon Bee, which is kind of like the sarcastic, it's what the Onion used to be before they destroyed the Onion, is a Jew. So all these Zionists and Jews are all sponsored by a company called the Wellness Company, which is kind of interesting. And I think they promote, I don't even know, but I think it's like a healthcare package, so you can get your healthcare from the doctors and Big Pharma, and they'll all kill you. It's incredible how they do it. But the person who's basically behind that is Eric Prince, who's also another billionaire. And here he is in 2019 seeking Israeli investments. Well, he looks like he got them, because everyone who works for him now is like Zionists and Jews, and they're all promoting his product, which is basically to get you Big Pharma stuff that will kill you, which is pretty interesting, because I talk about how we've rediscovered Nikola Tesla's old healing technology, which works incredibly well. I'll talk about that in this video too. I don't know how long this could be. This might be 3 hours. Get, whatever you need to do to get through this. We got a lot to talk about. It's going to be crazy. I got so many crazy things to talk about. But one of the things I'm talking about is that we've rediscovered Tesla's technology, and it heals everything. It heals everything basically almost instantly. It's miraculous. Do you ever hear about it? No, you won't. And if anyone ever has found out like where it's being produced and stuff, they go and try to like shut it down. So it's super underground, but you can get one at tesla.club, tzla.club. But you only hear about it if you're on BitChute, because, I just somehow can't get on anywhere. Although I have to say, we did start posting again on YouTube. We wanted to see if we could. Of course, they deleted our old channel, which had like 300,000 subscribers. We had millions of views before. That's gone, and that'll never be back. But we created another one a couple years ago. We tried posting, and every video would get removed. But then, since, things are changing now, the COVID's kind of over, there's the whole Trump thing, like a lot of, all these things are saying they're going to allow free speech and all this sort of stuff. So we thought to try to post one of our videos, and they started deleting them again. But what we found out is, if we put a disclaimer right at the very start, it will, we put up 2 videos so far, and they haven't deleted them.
Disclaimer. This is a work of satirical fiction. Any resemblance to real places or situations is purely coincidental and exaggerated for comedic effect. The story intentionally contains factual inaccuracies and absurdities as part of its artistic expression. Yeah, so we put up that disclaimer, and so far they haven't been deleting our videos. So we're back on YouTube, kind of, but only like a few thousand people ever see our stuff. Of course, because it's got so much truth in it, they can't allow that. But getting back to the Epstein stuff, so everyone's like, where's Pam Bondi? Pam Bondi is like slow getting the stuff out. She said she had the stuff on her desk. See, people follow these soap operas. None of this is real. None of it. It's all a show. All of it. I'll get into that in this video. And but people get wrapped up in it. And they're like, whoa, where's Pam Bondi? I don't know. Here's Pam Bondi flashing the Illuminati triangle pyramid. Here's Trump's new AG nominee calls Palestine supporters ignorant children, which is kind of interesting because they're slaughtering children. And here's AG Pam Bondi, Israel is our greatest ally in the world.
Here she is with one of her favorite necklaces, wearing the Star of Moloch. Yeah, I don't think you're going to be getting the Epstein files, considering it's all a Mossad operation, which actually I'm surprised they've even allowed to get this far in terms of the public. I think it's one of their, let's let them know without ever letting anyone do anything about it. So they're like, yeah, let's tell them we're all Satanists and pedophiles and all that kind of stuff. They like doing that kind of stuff. And then people are like, yeah, we'll put them in jail. And they're like, no, no. And then Trump's like, I'll put him in jail. And everyone's like, yeah, Trump's going to get him. My favorite character in the soap opera called The Jones Plantation is he's going to get him. No, he doesn't do anything either. Because he used to hang out with Epstein all the time. He used to say, him and Epstein, they both like the women. They like the girls, you know, on the younger side. And even Pam Bondi's come out and she said, they are going to release some stuff. Sorry about rickrolling ya. I can't believe you can't make this stuff up. Like, this has to be a DMT dream I'm on constantly. Because it's what? They rickrolled everyone. They gave people binders and had nothing in it and said it was the most transparent regime in history. Like, and so she's like, yeah, no, we're gonna. We've had some problems. There's problems with, there's some bad guys in the government. They're holding it. Yeah, right. But she has said that there is going to be some stuff that's definitely going to be redacted. It's like, yeah, we noticed. And they're like, you know, there'll be some national security stuff. What could be the national security stuff? First of all, national security just means criminal organization security, because that's what it is. The government's a criminal organization. And they're like, well, this is a criminal government security. If we let you know this, you'd probably get rid of the government. It's like, yeah, probably. And so they'll probably wipe any sort of anything to do with Israel out of it, maybe even mention a couple people, maybe even charge a few people. But it won't be anyone too important. It won't be Trump. It won't be Bill Gates. It won't be Prince Andrew. It won't be any of those people. It certainly won't be anyone who's Jewish or a Zionist. You know what they'll probably do? I can actually guess right now. They'll probably nail it on Stephen Hawking, who actually went to Epstein's Island, who's actually a CIA operation. He's not even real. Like, that's all fake. That wasn't him talking through the straw. So they'll probably go, we got him. Who was it? Who did they name? Stephen Hawking. And he's dead. He's probably not even dead. That's just an actor too. They're all actors. See, people don't get it. And then people are like, well, Bondi, she might be, you know, they might have her on something, so she's not releasing the files. But good thing we got Kash Patel, who looks like, seriously, he looks, now I said in my last video, he looks retarded. I actually want to correct that. First of all, I love Downs people. I think if everyone was Downs on this earth, this world would be 1,000,000 times better. And I'm not even joking. It would be 1,000,000 times better. They can't lie. They just have fun. They're always giggling and laughing. They're not like causing world wars and shit. Now, you know, the Downs who like shit their pants and stuff, they're not like my favorite Downs, but the ones that are actually functional Downs are my favorite people in the world. You know, talk about dreams. I'd like to actually have like a Downs camp or something and just hang out with just Downs people. They're awesome. So I want to apologize to the Downs people. I think Downs people are awesome. I think anyone who's not a Downs is kind of like, they're above us, highly above us. Like us regular, not necessarily me because I've done all the work and I don't have any sort of ego or anything. I know people say, oh, you got such an ego, Jeff. I don't. I don't. I just do these videos because they're funny. But well, I'm sure I might have some sort of ego. I haven't fully gotten enlightened yet. I'm like this close though. So anyway, long story, but so I want to say, like, Kash Patel, I was actually complimenting him when I said he looks like a retard, but he looks like a complete and total idiot. And he totally is. So people are like, well, Kash Patel's going to get him. You know, the guy who grew up with Vivek Ramaswamy, who's now a billionaire, in India. They actually grew up together, they're childhood friends. Somehow they're both, he's the FBI director and Vivek's now like running for the congressman of Utah or something. Who knows, but they're all into mRNA stuff and they're all trying to kill everybody. And people are like, well, Kash is gonna get him. Kash is a good guy. Yeah, you sure? Here's his girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins from PragerU. So who's the CEO of PragerU? Marissa Strait, who's from the Israeli Defense Forces. Yeah, The Israeli Offense Force, the most moral army in the world, is involved. Basically, that's who Kash Patel's girlfriend's involved with and all that. Are you surprised? Like, she's actually not a bad-looking woman. And Kash is he's like I'm sorry if you look like him. You probably don't look as stupid as he does, though. He looks like a total retard. Like Jeet. Like, how does he have this girlfriend? Well, she's basically involved in Israel stuff, so they put her in there as well to basically probably handle him, because he probably doesn't even know. He's that stupid. You can just tell by looking at him. He's like completely like super not smart guy. So yeah, those are the people who are going to be putting it all out for you. You know, someday they're going to get around to it one of these days and put out something, I guess, on the Epstein stuff. So you got, you know, your attorney general who's wearing her Moloch bracelet. You got her necklace. You got Kash, who's a complete and total idiot, who's a 100% supporter of Israel, of course.
We need America to wake up and prioritize Israel, and bring home Israelis, and make sure we stand by our #1 ally in Israel.
And then you got Trump, who everyone in his family is Jewish. I don't know how that even happened. Everyone he works for is Jewish. He's been bailed out by the Jews. And it's not even the Jews, by the way. I'll get into that in this video. But, yeah, he's gonna, like, expose all this stuff with the most transparent regime in world history. Trump is gonna save us from the bad guys. $500 billion to create the beast system seems reasonable. They're gonna cure cancer with those new MAGA jabs. I can't wait to fund the Greater Israel Project in Gaza. I don't know how many Atotasos I got left. I've gone through so many Atotasos so far. People are like, yeah, well, he's going to expose the Epstein. Atotaso.
Atotaso. A fucking Atotaso.
But I did say in the last video that after those binders came out, that they'd likely do something pretty big. And I actually guessed it'd be the Pope dying, but I was wrong on that one. But right after, to distract from it, and the very next day, like I said, Orange Man yelled at Cocaine Man, and that's all anyone talked about. They're like, yeah, America's back. It's like, these are all actors. Volodymyr Zelensky's an actor, a comedian, a cokehead. He actually played an actor playing the Ukrainian president like 10 years ago. No one seemed to notice that. Donald Trump, go look at his IMDb page. He's been in about 1,000 movies and shows. He even got J.D. Vance. Actor, 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 stage. It's incredible. People are sitting there watching. They're all actors. I know people can't believe it, but it's true. It's true. Like, that's what they are. I know some people want to like have hopium and all this sort of stuff, but you have to understand, there is a satanic cabal that runs this world and is trying to kill everyone on Earth, and they're going to probably do it, and probably this year, and I'll get into that. And these people are basically all hired actors to do all these things. That's all Trump's been his whole life, is just basically an actor. Says, you know, he self-made man. His father was like a billionaire in today's dollars. He actually lost it numerous times, but the Rothschild central banking system kept saving him. And now he's just, you know, reading what he's supposed to do. It's just incredible. But people, he's such a good, like, I'm going to talk about the Oscars in a bit. But the top actor of the year by far is Donald Trump. He's fooled the most people with his acting. And that's the true test of acting. If you can fool hundreds of millions of people for like years, and they don't know you're not actually saying and doing what you actually believe. You're actually doing it as basically your role. Like, all those actors in Hollywood are nothing compared to Donald Trump. He's got so many people fooled. They got Zelensky, who's an actor and a comedian. He actually played a role where he was the president of Ukraine like 10 years before he became one. And you can't make this stuff up. And he's a total cokehead.
All I wanted was a little bit of money, just a little bit. I need money to buy a little bit of cocaine, you know. I hope I can get cocaine from Hunter Biden. I'm not feeling well today. They took my cocaine at the airport. I need money so I can buy a little bit of cocaine, please.
And people believe that all these guys are kind of real. They're not. They all work for the same people and they're all pushing the same agenda. And speaking of that, they did have the Oscars this last week. I didn't watch any. I didn't even know it was on, but I did see their stage. Anyone notice anything about the stage? Like, it's got a giant Freemason logo on it. You probably have never noticed this either, but if you live in the US, pretty much every police force has a Freemason logo in their logo. No one even notices. And at the higher levels, all those people are basically what you could call Jews, but they're actually Khazarian, which I'll get into in this video. But they're actually probably controlled by an alien force called the Elohim, which there's actually quite a bit of evidence about. I haven't actually talked a lot about this. I've talked about the Nephilim. That's a whole other story. That's very interesting. But yeah, got all the Mason stuff at the Oscars, and oh, drum roll! I wonder who won. I wonder who won at the Oscars. Drum roll, please. The Oscar for the Best Actor is a Jew, and the actress for the Best Actress of the Year is a Jew. And by the way, that Best Actress woman who won the Best Actress for one of the best movies of the year, the movie, I never even heard of it, but I just heard what it was maybe about. It was about like an OnlyFans girl, and it was basically softcore porn. And the lead actress is Jewish, and OnlyFans is owned by a Jew, and they just won the Best Movie, Best Actress of the Year at the Oscars. Is anyone surprised? But when I see some of the photos of all the people at the Oscars, I just can't help but, like, when I see it now, all I see is Hunger Games. Like, here's Miley Cyrus. I don't know what kind of drugs they got her on, but it all just seems like Hunger Games to me. It's the people in the Capitol, and they're all got their fancy dresses and, you know, look at me and all this while everyone's like starving and being killed and about to be killed, which I'll get into in this video. There's going to be a lot in this video. I haven't even really got started yet. Hope you're prepared for this. But yeah, that's how I see the Oscars now. And then they were talking to Ariana Grande, who like 5 years ago was a beautiful young lady. And then something happened. She started a movie called Wicked, and then now she looks like she's basically about to die. And then at the Oscars, they're asking her about some stuff, and she basically says, I don't really remember. I go to this place and they wipe my memory.
Erasure treatment to me, so I'm having trouble remembering the details. They're foggy because at the Brighter Days Clinic they do the memory erasure, you know?
So did Ariana Grande just admit that she's going to a clinic, some Hollywood celebrity clinic, that erases her memories? I mean, that seems like concerning.
The memory erasure, they erase my memories. It's a little foggy, but...
If you could remember, struggle, tell me, give me a date. Give me a date.
You know what? I'll have to go back to the clinic and see if they can restore my memory.
Is it going to be soon?
So I decided to do a quick deep dive into this clinic that she has been going to that's affecting her memory. I mean, I just can't imagine why you would want to go and erase these memories unless she's just like overstimulated, being worked to death. This seems like a standard celebrity clinic when you look at it, like on their website. They don't want to tell you too much, but you know how easily this becomes something like a cult, and we have a lot of that in California. Looking at their website, it seems like they focus a lot on mental health, but they also specialize in drug treatment and a bunch of other things. It looks like a very expensive place to go to. I just had no idea Ariana Grande was going and getting treatments there. Honestly, I just hope that she's okay because that was a bizarre response. I mean, you must admit it.
Which is what they do with most of these MK mind control people. If you're like a big actor or actress, you're pretty much... They do all kinds of stuff to you and basically control your mind. They can wipe your mind, all that kind of stuff. And they talk about all this stuff. And she says stuff like that, and no one seems to ever notice. Miley Cyrus, by the way, she's like, I think, from like the Disney Club, which is the 33 Club. They've all been massively abused, MK mind control sort of stuff, all under the same sort of people who are basically doing all these things. But to get back to Zelensky for a second, speaking of actors, have you ever noticed that the Ukraine crest is pretty darn close to the Khazarian Tomga crest? And I don't know if this is true or not, but that's apparently the Moloch sigil. And if that's the case, that says a lot about what's really going on. Like if you even look at this helmet from Ukraine, that's actually got the Star of Moloch in the Ukrainian crest, which actually is what that stuff's all really about. And this is where we get into who are these people and what are they doing? Because they seem to control the world. They're trying to kill everyone on Earth. No one seems to notice. Most people don't seem to care. If you bring it up, they'll call you a name that means nothing, but everyone will just like hate you from then on. They'll say you're anti-Semitic if you bring it up. And as if that word actually means anything. It has no meaning. But they've programmed people for decades. If you say that word, oh, if he's that, then, you know, he's shunned from the tribe, right? So a lot of people don't actually know what's actually going on. Like the whole Ukraine thing, this has been going on for a long time with a certain group of people. Now, I can't say for sure if all of this is true, but there's definitely something to it. That entire area used to be known as the Khazaria Empire. And they were known as being incredibly evil people. They loved raping, pillaging, lying. They were very satanic. They do child sacrifices, eat babies, stuff like that. And those are the people who today most people call Jews.
Let's go back in time, 2,000 plus years, when an incredibly evil society emerged in Khazaria. Only the Jewish Encyclopedia claims the Khazars had invaded Eastern Europe from their homeland in Asia via the land route between the north end of the Caspian Sea and the south end of the Ural Mountains. We know the Khazars were not Semites and came from an Asiatic Mongolian region. Eventually, the Khazars were driven out of Asia by the nations they were continually at war with. Because of this, the Khazars invaded Eastern Europe. In far Eastern Europe, the very warlike Khazars did not find it difficult to subdue and conquer 25 peaceful agricultural nations, occupying approximately 1 million square miles. And in a short period, the Khazars established the largest and most powerful kingdom in Europe, and probably the wealthiest also. 100 AD to 500 AD. Tribes that eventually comprised of the Khazar Empire were not an ethnic union, but a combination of many unrelated tribes, including Turkic, Asian, Iranian, and perhaps Eastern European herders, nomads, and other wandering steppe people. There were Slavic people, including Kazakhs and Turkic peoples, like Oguric and Bulgars, and Asian tribes, like the Avars and nomads, who stemmed from Mongolia and South Siberia. These mixed groups with Turkic leaders led to the formation of the Khazars. By the year 550 AD, the kingdom of the Khazars was well established south of Russia, or modern-day Ukraine. Khazars lived on the shores of the Caspian Sea, with their primitive capital on the northern tip, where the Volga rivers form a delta. The Khazars fought under the banners of Attila the Hun, who was the leader of the Hunnic Empire from 434 to 453. Attila was known to the Romans for his brutality and a penchant for sacking and pillaging Roman cities. It is here where Khazarian warriors would participate in what they'd eventually become known for, raping and pillaging the land after taking it over. Between 500 and 800 AD, the Khazarians developed into a nation ruled by an evil king, who had an oligarch serving as his court who practiced ancient Babylonian black arts. During this time, Khazarians became known to surround countries as thieves, murderers, road bandits, and for assuming the identities of those travelers they murdered as a normal occupational practice. This was known as their way of life. Any country could order an army from the Khazars as a service, but only under one condition. The Khazarian warriors would be able to rape and pillage after the war was fought. This is why, in an effort to halt the wrath of the Khazarian warriors, the Persian king Kobad constructed a line of forts through the mountain pass to the Caucasus to guard against the invasion of the Khazars and other warlike tribes. That is also why the Wall of Derbent had begun construction to guard against the savage Khazars. With the Khazar streak of power, the Turkic Khaganate was formed, and the western portion included parts of the future Khazarian Empire. The Khazars dominated the Caucasian Crimean Goths and later occupied the Gothic capital Doros, and eventually the Khazarian Empire was formed. It is important to note that the Rothschilds claim to be Jewish, but are in fact Khazars from Mongolian Eastern Europe. Like Eisenhower, the Rothschilds have Asiatic Mongolian genes and not genes of Judaic people. The Rothschilds are like 95% of the Jews today and have Khazar genes and are now known as Ashkenazi Jews. But Georgia and Ukraine are 800 to 1,000 miles north of Palestine. Fact, every prime minister of Israel has been a Khazar Ashkenazi Jew with no connection to Semite people at all. An ultimatum was delivered by Russia and other surrounding nations impacted by the Khazar murders and robberies that they must reject paganism and choose between Judaism, Christianity, or Islam as their official state religion. The Khazarian king chose Judaism, but despite his promise, the oligarchs kept practicing ancient pagan Babylonian black magic, or secret Satanism. The king melded these practices with Judaism and created a secret satanic hybrid religion derived from Babylonian Talmudism written by hired rabbis. The deep dark secret of the occult ceremonies was that they were all based on ancient Baal worship, also known as worship of the owl. It involves child sacrifice with bleed-outs, blood drinking, and eating of children's hearts. So these evil practices continue, and all these are part of the Khazarian mafia today. In 900 AD to 1200 AD, Russian conquests were made into the Khazar kingdom and eventually drove most of them out. The Russian prince, Svyatoslav, made war upon the Khazars. The Russians created the gradual fall of the Khazars, so in a matter of a decade, the Russians removed most Khazar presence. Unfortunately, the Khazarian leaders had a well-developed spy network and were able to escape across Europe, taking their vast fortune in gold and silver. They infiltrated Europe and Slavic nations, and perhaps back into Asia, infecting many nations and city-states, including as far as Venice, Spain, and most of Central Europe. In secret, they continued their satanic child blood and sacrifice rituals, all for their trusted Baal to give them the whole world and all its riches. Ever since, the Khazars have plotted eternal revenge against the Russians and the surrounding nations that invaded Khazaria and drove them out of power.
So think about this too. Zelensky is a Jew, but he's actually a Khazarian. He's an Ashkenazi Jew. He's somehow the president of Ukraine. How'd that happen? I don't know. George Soros, the CIA, all that kind of stuff. And what's he doing? He's created this war basically with Putin, who's another guy who's just basically an actor. And what are they doing? They're killing everyone in that area. I heard that like the amount of men to women in the Ukraine now is like 9 women to 1 man. Which, if I was 20 years younger, I would go to the Ukraine, even if it was dangerous, because Ukrainian women in general are beautiful, and there's like no competition whatsoever. But I'm not going to do that now. I'm well past all that sort of stuff, but they've actually been genociding. There's been 2 genocides that have occurred in the last 20 years. One is in Gaza with Semites. They've been genociding Semites, Semitic people from Palestine. They've been genociding them. And the other one is they've been genociding all the white, mostly Christian or Catholic Ukrainians and Russians with a completely made up and contrived thing that has like no basis in anything. And who's it being led by? Well, Zelensky is a Jew. How'd that happen? And all the people who are all pushing on this war thing are all either Jews, Zionists, Khazarians, basically, or controlled by them. So this is actually the Khazarian/Jews killing everyone who's basically not them. And no one knows this. Like, no one. It's incredible. And so everyone's like, whoa, Trump really got Zelensky. It's like, you know, if you're a man and you talk about this stuff, I look at you as though you're watching like women's soap operas. Like, you're not a man, I'm sorry. You are a pathetic non-man. You sit there and watch soap operas all day. And they'll be like, well, but it's real. It's not real. Like, how stupid are you? Like, people, I don't know, they're so under mind control. It's incredible. But they watch soap operas all day. But after that happened, let's check the news headline. Let's go to Wolf Blitzer in the Situation Room. What's going on, Wolf? Zelensky has said thank you to America 33 times before J.D. Vance onslaught. Fact check, CNN. 33 times Zelensky thanked Americans and U.S. leaders. Oh, so what happened after that? 33 world leaders back Zelensky after face-off with Trump. 33 every time. They're putting it out there. This is a Mason/Jew/Khazarian/ all those sort of people. Satanist sort of a operation. But most people can't see it. They don't see these things. They don't have eyes to see or ears to hear. And they see those headlines and they just don't think anything of it. Not to mention, do you see how incredible they are at what they do? So, you had Biden, and he's sending like hundreds of billions of dollars to be money laundered through to the whole, basically, Khazarian Jew, whatever you want to call them, operation. So Trump comes in, he's like, I'm going to fix it. And they've killed almost every guy there already. Like, they are literally kidnapping people off the streets to go get killed. It's one of the sickest things I've ever seen. I can't believe it's even going on. The only sicker thing is in Gaza, where they're just killing babies and stuff. But that's all these Israeli Zionist type people that are all behind it. So Trump comes in and then he yells at the cocaine man and everyone's like, yeah, we're back. But what did he really say? Basically, him and J.D. Vance, both actors, said, well, you didn't even say thank you. We've given you, first of all, they didn't give them anything. Hundreds of billions of dollars were stolen and put onto debt on people in the U.S. and were given to basically all the people who control all this stuff, and the Jews, the Zionists, all these people. And what was the big thing Trump had to say? You didn't even say thank you. Really, is that it? Is that the only thing you had to say? Not that this is all a giant racket, it's all money laundering? No, because they're all involved in it. But he just kind of yelled at him and everyone's like all happy. Look, we're back now.
Citizens, America is back.
It's so easy. It's so easy to control these people. It's sad. It really is. I wish I could help them wake up, but they don't want to wake up. And if anyone even shows me talking to them, they'll get incredibly angry, and some of them want to kill me. Because, just like they said in The Matrix.
You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it.
Yeah, they are locked into the Matrix. And I'm just sitting here going, all this stuff's fake. All of it's gay. All of it's fake. They're just enslaving you and they're going to kill you soon, which I'll get into in this video. But I'm nowhere near done. And most people hate me for it. And, you know, or call me like a crazy or something like that. And it's insane. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm live streaming the apocalypse. And I'm telling people if they want to hear, if they can find these videos, they can't. That's the other thing. But if they do, they still won't even listen. It's like, look, this is what's happening. And they're like, no, you're crazy. Donald Trump gonna save us. Okay. And meanwhile, They got all these European leaders and the Canadian government, with Justin Castro, by the way, who resigned months ago. He's never been more active as prime minister, and no one seems to question it. I love how they resign and they're like, no, I'm not. It's like, I thought you resigned. Like, they don't even bring it up, and no one seems to remember. No one has memories anymore. They're under so much mind control. But yeah, Castro's all like, yeah, we got to go attack Russia now. They've even had like Chrystia Freeland saying that they should get nukes to attack the UN. Like, it's crazy. And here's the Canadian Secretary of Foreign Affairs, by the way. She's now wearing like a cosplay military outfit, just like Zelensky. Some middle-aged woman who knows nothing, wearing her uniform, they're gonna go fight Russia now. It's like insane, all this stuff they're doing. But people believe it. And people keep giving them their money. That's the problem. That's the biggest problem. It's like they none of it's real. You don't have to. But people are like, well, I got to. I'll get in trouble from my master. And they just keep sending them like half of everything they earn every year. And then they have trillions of dollars to do all this stuff to them. And they just keep going into a closet and keep ticking a box and keep saying, oh, well, you know, I guess we voted for her. We're just going to have to wait 4 more years till we get to vote again. It's incredible. Oh, and so the other night, just yesterday actually, I'm recording this on Wednesday, I think. I guess Donald Trump had like I guess it wasn't like a State of the Union, but he just kind of had a thing at Congress, whatever, something where all the monkeys could clap and some of them could boo and then they could kick some out and cause all the drama for the soap opera people who love it. But here's Trump on how he brought back freedom of speech.
And I have stopped all government censorship and brought back free speech in America. It's back.
Now, first of all, anything you could really say a few months ago, you could still say now. Nothing really changed. But he's actually gone after freedom of speech massively by pushing forward all these anti-Semitism bills for his bosses, basically saying if you speak out against Israel, if you're on a college campus and you say Israel's bad, they'll kick you out of the country or put you in jail or even send you to Guantanamo Bay. And if you don't believe me, just listen to Trump's new envoy to the United Nations and her recent address.
And my message for Turtle Bay is this: hear me clearly, right here and now. The anti-Semites at the United Nations better buckle up because I'm coming. The university presidents were just a warm-up, and believe me, anyone who knows me knows that I'm just getting started. Under President Trump, as United States Ambassador to the United Nations, the days of propping up organizations that run counter to our interest are long gone. We will no longer fund terrorism, anti-Semitism, and anti-Israel hate. That stops immediately. And impose sanctions on the illegitimate International Criminal Court, which is targeting Israel with anti-Semitic attacks. And at the United Nations, we took the decisive action to defund UNRWA, the pro-Hamas terrorist front group who committed atrocities on October 7th.
Yeah, so you can't say anything bad about one country, the one country who's genociding children right now for no reason whatsoever. In fact, they staged the whole thing for the reason. And those same sort of people, these Ashkenazi Jew type people, like Zelensky, are genociding people in the Ukraine, and you can't say anything bad about them. That's interesting. You know, if there's one group you're just not allowed to say anything, or you'll get attacked, you'll lose your job, you'll lose your bank accounts, you'll be killed. I would say that's probably the most dangerous group on earth. Very, very dangerous group. A high-level mafia. You can call it the Khazarian mafia, you could say. And yeah, they're just... And I love how she also said, we're going to stand up to terrorism. It's like, that's what Israel does. Israel is the biggest terrorist organization on earth. They were involved in 9/11 with the CIA. They've done so many things. They're basically, ISIS is them. They're the biggest terrorist organization in the world. They're bombing people in their houses in Lebanon right now, in Syria, numerous countries. No one even knows. But the U.S. envoy to the UN says that they're going to stop the terrorism. And also, while they're at it, you can't say anything bad about Israel. Who's doing all the terrorism? Because there isn't actually anyone else doing it, except for the U.S. They got over in the UK where they're putting people in jail for Facebook posts still. In Orwell's home, they just said this: anybody working for Iran in the UK must register or face jail, government announces. You know how you could make the world a million times better? Just changing one word. If everyone on Earth, instead of saying Iran, especially the Western governments and stuff like that, just change that word to Israel, this world would be a million times better overnight. But instead, if you even like say anything about Iran, like you work with them or anything, you're going to go to jail in the West now. Meanwhile, the people destroying the West and destroying the world and trying to kill everyone, you can't say anything bad about them. It's just incredible. I can't believe I'm alive to see this and that it's actually to some extent working, not completely. A lot of people are waking up. I don't think it's anywhere near enough yet, and most of them aren't even real, and they're not even they're NPCs, and well, none of this is even real. This, you, me, we're not real. This is a illusion. You could call it Maya if you want. It's basically like a 3D video game. But in the video game, it's really interesting, and there's crazy stuff happening. And I'm trying to tell people in the video game and they don't seem to care. It's incredible. And they just keep rolling out with their operations, just like Mossad said. They're a global production company. They produce, they direct, they're the actors. As we saw at the Oscars, they're definitely the actors. And here's Trump on, how he almost got killed. He almost died for your sins.
I believe that my life was saved that day in Butler for a very good reason. I was saved by God to make America great again. I believe that.
And that was such an obvious operation. Like, even if you thought it was true, wouldn't you think Trump would have like a serious investigation into everyone at the Secret Service about how they allowed that to happen? But he didn't. Do you know why? Because if he did, it'd be pretty obvious that they were all in on it, including Trump. That's what they did. So they made Trump look so bad, right? For the last 8, it's incredible how they do it. They made a lot of people just think he's the worst. He's the worst thing ever. Then they put him in. They say, oh, he almost got killed by a bullet. And now he's like, well, I'm here by the grace, God basically sent me to do all these evil things I'm doing, like building Trump towers in Gaza, which is the most disgusting thing ever. The fact that anyone could support anything to do with that just shows the level of evil that is in this world. But yeah, there he is, and they're basically just keep pushing forward with that and saying, well, he's there because, God saved him and all this sort of stuff. They tried to get him, the kid who's still alive, and none of the story made any sense whatsoever. You'd have to be pretty much a retard. And again, apologies to the Downs out there. I love the Downs. But you have to be pretty much just incredibly stupid or under massive mind control if you even think that was real. None of it makes any sense. And you can say, well, Jeff, it looked pretty real to me. I would say, did you look into it? Did you really look into it? And if you say no, I'd go, why don't you just shut up then? Why don't you just close your mouth? You usually talk about things you know nothing about, because if you look into it, just like with 9/11, with the moon landing, if you just look into it, it's very obvious. And I'm getting tired of talking to mind control people. Actually, I don't even talk to anybody. I don't know why I said that, but I feel like I'm trying to talk to these people. I actually don't talk to anybody. I'm pretty much a hermit. But anyway, so yeah, they added the Trump thing. Oh, Elon's sitting there front row. He's basically like the president now. And he's just flashing all the gang signs just constantly with the triangles and stuff. And then I saw, remember when I said, I didn't understand why Elon Musk was involved in firing everyone at the Air Traffic Board and the Air Traffic Safety Board. Remember that way back a few months ago? I was talking about that. And that happened like a week before some female pilot just flew her helicopter apparently into a plane and killed everyone on board. And I was kind of saying that was interesting timing, but I couldn't figure out, like, why does Elon care about, he was actually literally in a fight with like the air traffic controller board. And I was like, what, why? Well, sometimes you just have to wait and the answer will appear. Starlink poised to take over $2.4 billion contract to overhaul air traffic control communication. There it is. Just made a few more $1 billion. He can sign the whole thing himself. He's there in the Oval Orifice every day with his black baseball hat on, which is kind of funny because people are like, I'm mad Zelensky showed up to our cherished Oval Orifice in the Masonic White House and he didn't wear a suit. He's wearing like his tracksuit. Meanwhile, they're all cheering on Elon Musk, who's sitting there with his tech support shirt on and his black MAGA hat. They can't see. No one can see anything. No one can see that the cognitive dissonance of so many things, so many people, is unbelievable, and none of them can see it. They're all basically under mind control. They're under fluoride. They've been injecting themselves with poison. They're eating poison. Almost all the food now has lethal injections in it, vaccines, in the US. And then you have Elon, and he's also promoting, and this is something I warned of for years, and now here it basically is. I said if people couldn't figure out that the whole germ theory thing is bullshit, because it is, it's actually, like, again, incredibly stupid people. They're like, well, it must be true because they said it on the television, and the doctors who trained at the Rockefeller medicine system that kills everyone said that if I cough, I've got little things in me, and that'll go into other people, and then they'll get sick too, and those are called viruses. It's like, well, were you both, like, was the weather changing at that time? Is that why maybe your family all decided to do a detox at the same time? And by the way, all those colds and flus and stuff are actually incredibly good things. Like, you should be so happy. I know it doesn't feel like it in the moment, but if you get a cold or a flu, you should be like, yeah, I'm getting out all the toxins. But what do they do? If you go to a doctor, you say, I've got a fever with the flu, they'll try to stop the fever. The fever is actually what kills the toxins in your body. Everything they do is the opposite of what you'd want them to do. And the opposite of what they say. They say they're trying to help you with your health. And because of that, I said, because so many people still haven't figured this stuff out, and they're like, well, it was real. I got a cold back then, and it was a really bad cold. It's like, first of all, when they're flashing all that stuff at you all day long, the stress and your mind and all the subconscious stuff, you'll get super sick if they say everyone's getting super sick. That's how powerful your mind is. But anyway, so people are like, they haven't figured out that viruses, as they call them, don't even exist. And the whole vaccine industry is there to basically sterilize you, make you sick, and kill you. Because they haven't, now they got Elon Musk in there, and he's pushing the mRNA vaccines as well to change you into a non-human. And he's now propagating the true conspiracy theory that is not true, as opposed to the conspiracy theories that I've been talking about that have all been proven to be true. And he's basically saying, yeah, it was a lab leak. We're going to go after him. It was some of the Democrats. That's what they're always doing, right? Left, right, left, right. Here's Elon. Did you know that USAID, using your tax dollars, funded bioweapons research, including COVID-19, that killed millions of people? No, it didn't. No one died of COVID-19. But they get away with it because people haven't woken up, and now they think Elon's there to save them, and now they're going to go off on that total misdirection that they actually tried to kill everyone on Earth, and are still doing it, by the way. Oh, I see my wife got back now, so I wonder if apples... ¿Tienes apples? Naomi, ¿hay apples? ¿Dónde es apples? Oh, I thought apples was here. Necesitamos encontrar apples. All right, I've told them we got to get apples at least by the end of this video. You never know where she is. But here's something interesting. In my last video, I talked about how Elon Musk's nanny said that she saw him doing something incredibly dark, and that she thought he might be the Antichrist, and then his mom, who's like this high-level witch, like Black Witch. Oh, there she is. There's apples. And his mom said that no, he's not the Antichrist, but once he appears, once the mark of the beast appears, the Antichrist will come in. What do you think of that, Apples? Where have you been? Where have you been? I don't know. I'm kind of confused. I don't know what's going on. I'm just running around. What's going on? I missed a video talking about Jews. Psyops. Yeah, that's right, Apples. Shouldn't really miss anything. It's usually the same old stuff, same old boring stuff. But anyway, so when I saw that nanny of Elon Musk from like 40 years ago said that, I said in my last video, I said, I wonder what the dark thing is that she saw. Then I get an email from Elon Musk's nanny. She emailed me. And she's like, thank you so much for what you do. God bless you, all this sort of stuff. And she's like, yeah, I've been trying to tell people about this for a while. And she sent me her YouTube channel. I didn't even know she had one. And there's actually a YouTube video where she talks about what she saw. And, well, I'll let you see what she said.
The little boy's real name is, the world knows him as Elon Musk. His name changed over time. And what he did was, one day we were alone. I was watching him. I'm a few years older than him. He was born in 1965. He was tiny. He was tiny as a 2-year-old. Tiny as a 2-year-old when he was supposed to be 8 or so. But, or 7. But he called me in his room. He said, Moon, come play with my friends. I'm going to attempt to tell you this story without explaining myself too much. He called me Moon, and he said, Moon, come play with my friends. I went to the entry of his doorway, and it was dark in there, and he had set up some of his mother's ancient artifacts in a certain way on his bed. Well, something was happening, and there was wind and energy and sparks, and he started jumping up and down like a little kid with a sparkler on 4th of July. And something was happening, and he started being lifted up. Something opened up above his bed, above where he'd set this up. Something opened up, and a giant opened up, and you could see another world, and he was being lifted up, and I grabbed his little arm, and I was being lifted up, and we got sucked in there. And biblically, I think it was the abyss in Revelation 10. The abyss, I think that's where we were. And we went in there, and there was no bottom. And it was dark, but it was glowing. And there were some creatures in there that were huge, and they weren't creepy like Smeagol, slimy little dudes. They were glorious and beautiful to behold. But we came like in, like we got sucked in, and we were up, and one of them grabbed me by the throat. And Elon was so happy. He was so happy. And this thing grabbed me by the throat and was going to consume me. And I cried out to Jesus. I cried, Jesus, save me. And it stopped. And we flew back, and we rolled into the out of his room and into the living room. And I was hugging the carpet, reeling from what just happened. And Elon looked up at me, and he rolled out with me, and we were right there, face to face, like on the ground, like we were both looking at an ant or something. And he looked up at me, and he was very surprised. And he said, Moon, why you not like my friends? So I told you I would tell you who that little boy was and what he did that was so dark. Elon Musk tried to sacrifice me to his friends, and he opened a gateway to the abyss when he was a little boy. And Jesus, those creatures in there, they are subject to Jesus' name. And I thank God for saving me. Thank you, Jesus. So, that's the truth.
Now, I know what you're thinking. And, you know, I would say as well, I don't know her personally. She could be not who she says she is. She could be lying. She could be crazy. She could be on, you know, whatever. I get the feeling that that is actually true. And for anyone who's like, whoa, that's crazy, stuff like that doesn't happen, where they open these portals and all these demonic things come in, I've pretty much seen it myself, just so you know. They do a lot of black magic stuff to me. I've actually gotten rid of almost all of it now, though. I've done so many things. I don't know, but they haven't really hit me. And you know what I think it is? Christoph Melchizedek had the most incredible speech in Acapulco, and he's been actually going around and taking out their power centers in Vatican City, in London, in Washington, D.C., which are all connected to like this like super other dimensional level of evil stuff. And he said that he used to get hit by all this black magic stuff too, because they do it nonstop. Like it was really hard. We had to be like completely clear and connected to source, the full armor of God sort of a thing, to get through a lot of it. Now I've seen crazy ass shit. I don't even want to talk about it. I just don't. Like it wasn't as crazy as what that Danny said, but I've seen things that actually, like, I haven't really even told anyone. So what I will say is I've seen similar things and it's real. So would it be any surprise if Elon Musk's nanny actually saw that and was involved in that and basically saw that he's basically the Antichrist, which is very, very interesting. Maybe not the Antichrist, but like some sort of thing. It's interesting because she calls him El Leon. That's what she used to call him. That basically is tied to the Elohim, which is a whole other rabbit hole I still haven't gone down. But basically they're like space aliens who control this earth. I know it sounds kind of crazy. Nothing's too crazy. Everything in this world is a little crazy. It's a big 3D video game. It's got to have some crazy parts, right? Yeah, that's right, Apples. But apparently Elon is basically the leader of the Elohim in human form. And they actually want to kill all humans. That's kind of what they want to do, which makes a lot of sense when you look at what Elon's doing, right? So, there's sorry. I'd rather be doing this. Where are you going? ¿Dónde vas? Yeah, he's busy. We're having too good of a time out here. But, yeah, very interesting on Elon Musk and all that. And if you just look at what's going on, this is insane. Like, he's basically like always there in the White House. He's pushing through all these things that are basically gonna make people not human anymore. He's involved in trying to kill everyone with basically the lethal injections. But he says he fell for it himself. That could be also a lie too. Like, he's obviously another incredibly good actor who basically can lie about anything, and he's not who he says he is. That's what I believe. And if you just look into him a little bit, you'll basically see that. But anyway, let's get back to some Totosos. So, one of the things that a lot of people said was, yeah, Jeff, you might be right on this, you might be right on that, but RFK Jr. is going to get in when Donald Trump is selected, and he's going to get rid of all the lethal injections that they've been using to try to kill everyone on Earth. And he's going to go after things like Pfizer and Fauci. Well, RFK's in. He hasn't done anything with Fauci. Fauci actually got a pardon, and then Trump and RFK is like, well, he got a pardon. It's a preemptive pardon, but he got one. And they have meetings with Pfizer all the time about all their mRNA stuff. We found out RFK Jr. is a major investor in mRNA jabs. But people are like, well, when he gets in, he's going to fix all this stuff. And I was like, he's completely controlled as well. He's a massive Zionist. He's in with the big club, just like all of them. And I basically said he's not really going to do anything. And what's he done? Basically nothing so far, except the Health and Human Services, ED and GSA announced additional measures to end anti-Semitic harassment on college campuses. The Department of Health and Human Services announced a comprehensive review of Columbia University's federal contracts and grants in light of ongoing investigations for potential violations of Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. Given Columbia's ongoing inaction in the face of relentless harassment of Jewish students, the federal government's task force to combat anti-Semitism is considered stop work order for $51.4 million in contracts. Yeah, and he actually wrote like a thing about what he's doing. He said, anti-Semitism, like racism, is a spiritual and moral malady that sickens societies. Notice how every word here is you could use for like a virus. Sickens societies and kills people with letalities comparable to history's most deadly plagues. In recent years, the censorship and false narratives of woke cancel culture have transported our great universities into greenhouses for this deadly and virulent pestilence. Making America healthy means building communities of trust and mutual respect based on speech freedom and open debate. Yeah, so everyone's like, RFK is going to get rid of the vaccine stuff and put Fauci in jail and to take down Pfizer. Nope, he hasn't done any of that. What's he done? He said it's a public health emergency. Anti-Semitism. You can't make this shit up. Like, I can't even believe it's true. Like, if you told me a week ago that RFK is going to say that anti-Semitism is a public health emergency and write a whole long thing about plagues and pestilence and death related to anti-Semitism, and that's going to be his focus, I'd be like, there's no way. Like, who would who would just like be like, what? Like, you're the health guy and your top priority is anti-Semitism, but they're actually doing it. It's not really a surprise when I was talking about this before. I said, look, he's always hanging out with Rabbi Shmuley. That's your first clear sign that he's basically an agent for the death cult. Yeah, they said it didn't matter that RFK Jr. is owned by Israel because he'll just be doing health stuff at HHS. Well, now as HHS secretary, he has declared that anti-Semitism is a public health emergency.
I want to thank our dear friend Bobby Kennedy, phenomenal friend of Israel and the Jewish community, for joining us to celebrate the Israel Parade on Israel's 75th birthday. Bobby, this crowd loves you. God bless Israel. I'm going to be a champion for Israel as president. God bless you.
Behold our newest ad campaign for the Department of Health. Stand against anti-Semitism. Are you sure this will make America healthy again? Healthy? Can you ban seed oils? Best I can do is ban anti-Semitism. Do you see what's going on here yet? Do you see? All these things they call anti-Semitism, all these people are in a satanic death cult and they're trying to kill everyone. They've already enslaved most people on earth. They've already sickened most people on earth. And they're trying to kill everyone on earth. And all these people work for them. Like, do you see that yet? If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. I just really don't. Like, I've been talking about this for months. It's blatantly obvious. I still hear from like people, they're like, Jeff, why with all the Jew hate? It's like, is it anti-Semitism? I'm anti getting kicked in the head. If I'm getting kicked in the head and I find out it's a Jew who's kicking me in the head, am I an anti-Semite? No, I'm anti getting kicked in the head. If I find out it's actually a big gang of Jews kicking me in the head, am I an anti-Semite? No, they're not Semites. I haven't had a lot of people recently call me anti-Semitic because I basically called them out. I'm like, if you call me that, it basically shows you're either a complete idiot or you're completely evil and on board with the satanic death cult. So the latest thing I've been getting is, Jeff, seems like a lot of Jew hate. It's like, first of all, I don't hate anybody. I'm just telling you what's going on. This is a big 3D video game. I don't care what you do. None of this even exists. But they're like, Jeff, you had Stu Peters at Acapulco. It's like, yeah, and he said a lot of things. Do you have anything that he said that wasn't true? I've actually said that to a few people. No one ever comes back to me. They're like, well, I said Jew a lot. It's like, well, you guys get over your programs. It's triggered. That's the whole triggering thing. That's actually been programmed into your head for like decades. That you can't even say the word or you get triggered. They've actually implanted that. Almost everyone's under mind control. Like, you can't say the word Jew. It's like, why? They say it all the time. Like here, the happy-go-lucky Jewish group that connects Trump and Putin, where Trump's real estate world meets a top religious ally of the Kremlin. Chabad, an international Hasidic movement most people have never heard of. Starting in 1999, Putin enlisted two of his closest confidants, the oligarchs Lev Lviv and Roman Abramovich, who would go on to become Chabad's biggest patrons worldwide, to create the Federation of Jewish Communities of Russia under the leadership of Chabad Rabbi Beryl Lazar, who would come to be known as Putin's rabbi. See what I'm saying? Trump, Putin, they're all owned by the same people. It's all a show. All of it. All of it. Everything you've been told. Cold War, bullshit. Nuclear bombs, bullshit. Maybe they exist now. I don't know. I've never seen one. They definitely didn't have them in the 1940s. Moon landing, bullshit. Everything. Evolution, bullshit. We didn't come from like rats and mice and stuff. Everything you've been told is BS. And so much more. Like there's a 9/11, like go on and on. Central banking, all this kind of stuff. I like in that article though, the title of it, the happy-go-lucky Jewish group that connects Trump and Putin. Yeah, they're so happy-go-lucky. Here's a few images of them and their happy-go-lucky group. Yeah, it's that happy-go-lucky Jewish group that connects Trump and Putin and Zelensky and like 20 other countries on earth where they all are like the president or prime minister, including in Mexico, which I expect is going to turn Mexico really quite bad. And what do they talk about? Oh, Trump wants to attack Mexico now because of the fentanyl, which comes through China. And actually, the whole trade is done by the CIA. That's what the cartels at the higher levels are, all CIA operations. The cartels at the lower levels is just people. And people in the US are like, hey, I can't stand living here in the land of the free. It's so horrible. I think I'm going to basically take something that probably will kill me called fentanyl. And then Trump's like, well, we got to go attack Mexico now. And they probably will try. And the Mexican president will probably do something to screw up this place as well. Oh, Jeff, you're such a Jew here. It's like, I don't even know what they are, but I know that they're doing pretty much every evil thing on earth and no one can see it. And I'm basically just trying to tell you. And even like libertarians, some of them have fallen for the Trump stuff. It's incredible. The mind control is incredible. They've probably even seen the Jones Plantation. They still don't get what's going on to them. Megatards, government is bad. Click, government is good. But that's not the only thing RFK Jr. was involved in the last week or so. Of course, he declared it a public health emergency, anti-Semitism, which makes no sense, but hey, no one seems to notice, no one seems to care. But he also basically said, or at least Fox News said, RFK Jr., measles outbreak is call to action for all of us. MMR vaccine is crucial to avoiding potentially deadly disease. Now, I know RFK didn't actually say in that article that, go get your MMR vaccine and stuff like that, but he basically did say that, these things help and this is a serious issue. That's the first important thing to note here. So RFK is like, comes in, he's like the hell guy. He's like, whoa, we got a major crisis. And this is basically what he said. He said, there's a huge measles outbreak. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'm from like the 70s. If we got like the chicken pox and stuff like that, my mom, if someone in our neighborhood had got it, she'd send us there to have a pizza party so we all got it, so we could just get over it. And by the way, that's not a virus, that's actually a bacteria, which is actually explainable. Viruses are different. But and also it might be something, it's actually kind of complicated what it is, but it's not a virus, just so you know. So, because they don't exist. But I remember in like the 70s, it'd be like, oh, someone's got the chicken pox, let's all go to his house so we can all get the chicken pox. He was even on the Brady Bunch. Like, so this is what RFK Jr. is like, oh, we all got to focus on this now. We got to focus on anti-Semitism and a huge measles outbreak. Oh, it's so deadly.
What are you doing home from school? They sent me home. Measles.
That's either measles or a strange case of red freckles.
You have got a temperature. They told me 101.1. What's the record?
Never mind.
Oh, are you sure it's the measles?
Well, he certainly got all the symptoms. A slight temperature, a lot of dots, and a great big smile.
A great big smile.
No school for a few days.
Say hello to my dotted son for me. Tell him I'll bring him some comic books, and I'll see you later, dear.
Okay, honey, bye.
Boy, this is the life, isn't it?
Yeah. If you have to get sick, you sure can't beat the measles.
That's right.
No medicine.
Inside or out. Like shots, I mean.
Don't even mention shots. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the measles is so deadly. It's like 1 in 100,000 dies or something, and whoever it is always like sick anyway. And it's basically a lie. Like it's fine. But RFK is like, oh, we got this big measles problem, and what's the solution? What a surprise! They got like a 3-in-1 vaccine for that one. It's the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. But here's something interesting. There's an incredible doctor, by the way. Her name's Anna Maria Mahalsia. She's actually proven through microscopy and other things that there's nanotech in all of these vaccines, which is actually what they want to do. They actually want to put these things that are going to control you by the 5G and the Starlink and eventually kill you in various ways, or even just control you as a character in this video game. Like inside the video game, it's pretty incredible. But she's shown this stuff. She's done incredible work. And here's what she had to say on the measles vaccine. The measles, mumps, rubella, and varicella vaccine for children shows nanobot swarms, quantum dots, and self-assembly hydrogel. She said, given the recent discussion about MMR vaccination, I wanted to repost this analysis I did in September 2023. When considering vaccine safety, microscopy analysis should be considered, as many of the findings we see in the blood could be identified to self-assemble in childhood vaccines. The childhood MMR vaccine is loaded with nanobots. They are so small that on my highest magnification you can barely see them, but they are clearly there. I tried to go up to 4,000 times with my oil objective, but could not visualize them. I took many videos, and if you look at the entirety of the documentation, it is clearly stunning. The MMRV vax is supposed to be stored at -56 Fahrenheit. Thawed, it looks exactly like the COVID-19 bioweapon vaccine. Filaments do assemble, and large areas of hydrogel construction. Without a cover slip, the self-assembly is much more visible. This is given to 9-month-old babies, then again at 15 months, and then at 6 years of age. This is the 5th childhood vaccine I looked at. It all looks the same to me. It is loaded with self-assembly nanotechnology. What do you think about that, Apples? Well, I don't take no vaccines. That's why I'm doing pretty good. You know, we know what's in that crap. You don't have to be very smart to know that kind of stuff. You're right, Apples. But yeah, she's basically shown and proven that in these vaccines, actually in most of them, is nanobot, self-assembling nanobot technology, which basically, who knows exactly how it's all going to play out, but basically it'll do all kinds of things, and they'll even be able to control you via like I said, the 5G, the Starlink, and stuff like that. Kill you if they want to. They can make these things do anything once they start forming in your body. We've already seen a lot of people dying. They just get blood clots because these things become big enough. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. So RFK is like telling everyone to get, watch out, it's a big measles outbreak, which is like nothing. And then they're pumping out the vaccines for it. And does he say anything about it? Does he mention it's got like nanotech self-operating systems that are all designed by the satanic cult that wants to kill everyone on Earth? No. It's incredible how people fall for it all. And there's so many people, so many of the so-called alternative media that have all flipped now, and they're all like Alex Jones, like they're all like RFK's our guy. There's so many of them that have been promoting RFK, and basically he's said that anti-Semitism is a health emergency, and now he's promoting a measles breakout, which is totally nothing. And they're pumping out their nanotech injections to basically make people so they're not human. So that's what's going on, and they're going to be killing most people on Earth. Most people have this stuff already in their blood. This is going to get insane. It hasn't fully happened yet, but when it happens, it's going to be the most crazier than any dystopian movie you've ever seen. That's why I'm here on a ranch growing all our own food with like giant walls around us. I'm painting my house walls with lead. I'm painting my roof laser lemon blue, and I'm not joking. Actually, I forgot to show you, they've actually already started painting some of them up there. It's going to be laser lemon blue. I'm not joking. And we'll see if we can survive it here. But interestingly, I was at an Acapulco, and they looked at my blood. There was a lady there with a microscope, and she was showing people on a screen your blood. She said almost everyone had some sort of hydrogel or nanotech already in them, and it doesn't even necessarily have to come from the vaccines. It can come through the chemtrails, through the food, through the water, all that kind of stuff. And she was shocked. I don't think many people, or if any, had what I had. She was like, your blood is like perfect. Rarely ever see that. There's no nanotech, no hydrogel. And I told her, I said, well, I've been using this Tesla machine for the last year. I now have the energetic age of a 10-year-old. I have or not biological age, but metabolic age. My metabolic age is 30 years old, and my tissue age is, I don't even want to say it actually. When I saw it, Max and I both laughed. I have the tissue age of a 33-year-old. And no, it's not on purpose. That's what it said on the screen. I can actually show you. I'll actually try to put it in this video. I'll show you my results. And so I'm actually basically half my own age now from 1 year of using the Tesla machine, and my blood is perfect. So I might have even had some of this nanotech or graphene or anything, but I don't now. And I think it's mostly because of the Tesla machine. So again, isn't it crazy? They're all these guys that all these people love, Trump, RFK, all these people, Kash Patel and Bondi and all these people, they're all trying to kill everyone. And then there's a guy on BitChute, and I know about a thing that cures everything, and it's not even that expensive considering what it does, and it actually makes you, like, it made me basically reverse age. And no one's heard of it, and a lot of people, there's like old guys on the internet, they're like, that's a fake, it's a scam, it's just light bulbs. Oh man, I can't believe how some people are just so unbelievable. But yeah, it's crazy. I was thinking about this the other day because Max Egan in his last video, he talked about the Tesla for like half an hour. He was like, this is, I was, you know, not quick to believe any of this stuff, but he's healed so many people with it, and he's seen it heal so many people, including a lady with myocarditis, and he's seen my results of my age. Like, I'm a 30-year-old now with like the energy of a 10-year-old, which is incredible. And so he talked about it, and I was thinking about this today, that Max talks a lot about the old technology, like the Tartarian sort of things, the old structures, where I think all those old structures with the antennas on it and all that stuff was to actually collect the plasma from the air and concentrate it into one area where they probably, I'm just guessing, but probably people would go there to be healed. They'd also go there to like pray and stuff and get like a direct connection, which you really do with the plasma. And it's so cool that Max is also on BitChute. None of us make any money from these videos. I actually lose money making these videos. I lose money doing an Acapulco. I'm trying to tell people this stuff. I can't get it out to hardly anyone. Most people think I'm crazy. Other people hate me. And I've actually got something that can cure all the problems on Earth. And I've also identified all the problems. So if people figure that out, everything will get fixed very quickly. But no one ever hears about it. It's incredible. But this Tesla machine is basically the biggest discovery of our lifetimes, like easily. Can you think of anything else that's a bigger discovery than something that reverse ages you, that cures basically everything, and almost instantly? And when I talk about instantly, like I haven't even talked about so many of the things that happen in Acapulco. Like for example, there's this one guy that he actually has a bit of a drinking problem. I was trying to help him out with that actually. That's some of the things I do in Acapulco. And I actually told him to go out in the ocean and you know, don't drink that day and go swim. And I don't know if it happened in the ocean or out of it, but something stung him or bit him. And his eye looked like this. Like it was like completely shut, black and blue. And he came into the Tesla RV, and a few hours later, like this is documented. So that photo was him coming in, totally shut, couldn't open it, and it was black and blue. Did the Tesla, and here he was. Here's how he looked just a few hours later.
Hey, Dylan with Tesla here at Acapulco. We had an interesting case. A gentleman got bit in the eye with something as he got here, and showed up in the morning. His eye was completely sewn shut, but I'll let him tell you about his experience with the Tesla machine.
People in Acapulco call me the guy with the eye because it was completely and utterly closed. But since I've seen Dylan with the Tesla machine, it's nearly back to normal. That's brilliant though. Thank you.
Same thing happened with a person who stepped on a stingray. Her foot blew up to twice the size. She went and got the Tesla. She was in total pain. The foot went back to normal, and she had no pain anymore in one session of 20 minutes. Like, this stuff happens all the time. Even to my own nanny, by the way. I don't want to embarrass her too much. I'm not going to show her right now, but she's pretty overweight. I've actually been trying to work on a lot of the people who work with us and help them. Actually, we've got the Tesla machine running almost nonstop every day now for all of our staff, all my family, and they're all into it because they're all seeing the results of it and the energy they get from it and all that kind of stuff. But she saw us cure that lady who had the vax injury, and she could barely breathe, she could barely walk. We did one session with her, and she just walked off laughing. So she came up and asked my daughter, she said, I just saw you miraculously heal that woman. And she said, can I go on the Tesla machine? And my daughter said, sure, because it goes nonstop in my house. I had a Tesla bath, it was just going nonstop. People are getting in and out, because it's miraculous. It's the best thing ever. And so my nanny, who's quite overweight and not very healthy because of it, eats a lot of crap. I'm trying to help all our staff figure all that stuff out. But she actually went in the Tesla bath. So we put the plasma into the bath. And I didn't know this, but my wife told me the next day. She said, our nanny hasn't had her period in over 2 years, and probably because she's not very healthy and all that kind of stuff. And she said she went in the Tesla bath 2 days ago, and then 2 days later, she actually had her first period in years. And she was like so happy about it. And you can just imagine, right? Like she thought she was just totally screwed, but one Tesla bath and all of a sudden she had her period again. And there's so many people with testimonials about the Tesla, it's incredible. Like you have like old guys who just sit there on Twitter all day and they're like, it's stupid, it's just a light bulb. It's like, have you ever seen one? Have you ever tried it? Are you even aware of this sort of technology that Tesla was talking about 100 years ago? They're like, no, but I looked on AI and they say it's not possible. I know it says it's not possible, but how many people do you need to see get healed by this before you realize you're kind of an idiot? Like this guy said, my wife Tanya played basketball 2 nights ago. While there, she was asked to fill in for another team, and she said yes, of course, because she's a 50-year-old psycho. Yesterday, she got home from work with a very sore hamstring and was considering missing her gym session with her girlfriends. She decided to Tesla the hammy for 10 minutes, then walked the dog for 10 minutes and came back and said, I can't believe it, my hamstring is not sore at all. She's a physiotherapist and researcher, so it still blows her mind when this happens, even though we've had several other personal examples of what it can do. She said, I should run a controlled study on it. I want to know how it works. She got through the entire lower body session in the gym with no trouble. This stuff happens all the time. Like, here's a guy named David. He said, I've had my machine for a week. Just 1 week, and look at all the stuff that's happened. He said, I'm having some nice experiences to share. He said, my mom was the first to use it. She has had a stiff neck for a long time, so it worked for 20 minutes on that area. Before treatment, she couldn't turn her head without also twisting her body due to the pain. After just one session, she could turn her head without moving her body. She's very skeptical of alternative therapies, so it was excellent to see. A few days later, she did another 20 minutes, and the issue is now almost completely gone. My sister was next. She has suspected arthritis in her hands, with one of them often swelling, itching, and going purple. She was on the machine for 20 minutes, then later she went home for a bath. She says that normally her hands really swell and itch after a bath, but not that night. She also mentioned that she normally wakes up to a lot of stiffness and discomfort in her hands. However, the next day there was no problem at all. She hasn't had a follow-up, but still noticing the effects days later. And he said, my dog has just had surgery on his leg. Last year he had the same procedure on his other leg, and it took him over 1 week before he started putting weight on it again. The day after the surgery, I had him on the machine. He's normally very wary of things that make noise like the machine, but he's actually came up to me while I was using it to tell me he wanted to go. The next morning, he was putting weight on his leg. I couldn't believe it. He was also immediately happier after the session. He'd been feeling sorry for himself after the operation. As for me, I've been using the machine daily and noticing that I don't really need to sleep anymore. Yeah, you get amazing energy from it. I'm always very present, but I feel like I've almost lost my mind completely this week. On Friday, I tore something on my shoulder while moving some furniture. In a weird way, I was kind of happy about it because I knew it would be a good opportunity to really put the machine to the test. On Saturday morning, I couldn't even lift my arm to put the washing on the line, and there was a lot of crunching in the shoulder. By the afternoon, after a total of around 2 hours on the machine, I could lift my arm up with no pain, and all the crunching is gone. There's now only a slight pain there, which I'm sure will be gone as soon as you read this. So a good first week by all accounts. Gratitude to JB for putting me onto this and all the team at Tesla. Yeah, it's like non-stop people. There's over 200 people now who have a machine, and there's a Tesla group that they're all in, which is actually a big important part of the Tesla, by the way. Because we're all just discovering how to use this plasma and use it before they try to basically stop it. Because once Big Pharma finds out about this, they'll be wanting to stop it. It basically cures everything. It gets rid of all doctors, all hospitals, all Big Pharma, almost completely, except for possibly like a major extreme trauma issue where you have to be sewed back together and stuff like that. But aside from that, you can use the Tesla for the pain and be gone. So this will get rid of Big Pharma completely. And this is kind of what the apocalypse is basically all about. All this stuff is coming now, and they're trying to shut it down while it's all it's just incredible. And Yeah, so you got all these people in the group, and they're always discovering new things. Everyone's helping each other. Some people have a problem, and other people will help them. Even the Tesla group themselves will help people if people have a serious problem. So it's not just the machine, it's also being part of this incredible group of basically plasma pioneers that is so incredible. So if you have any major health issue, and if you can afford it, it's about $11,000 for the machine. But I should mention there's no real taxes on it. There's no sales tax because they market it as a science club and a science kit. There's very little or no customs duties, and they can ship almost everywhere in the world, which would be like a few $1,000s otherwise, right? Usually most countries will charge you 10, 20, 30% to import something, but this is sent as a science kit and actually looks like it's a science kit and stuff to get it by all these things. But yeah, if you can afford it, it's the best thing. Like, I wouldn't want to be without it during the apocalypse. Like, it's basically our number one first aid device. If anyone has a problem, like actually one of our pugs hurt her back the other day. So I was in the bath, and I just brought her in the bath. I actually brought Apples in the bath the other day, and she was running around like crazy after that. She felt so good. So anyway, I should leave it there. We're wrapping up. Oh, we got my son in the car here. Oh, I should just mention once more, the Anarchapulco replays. I can get 35% off, less than $100 for the whole 5 days, and it was incredible. Just go to anarchapulco.com/ascendance and use the code TDV. And go look at Christoph Melchizedek. I can never say his name properly. Go look at his talk. It was the most incredible talk I've ever heard. It really is. You have to hear it from him himself, what's going on. And there were so many talks like that. It was literally all the neos of the world coming to one place and for a week telling you all kinds of stuff about how to survive, what they're doing to survive, inspiring you, giving you information that you can't get anywhere else. So go check that out if you want. And I think I'm gonna wrap this up. We got my son playing his music in his car here. Oh, he's changing the music. ¿Tienes música? There we go. All right, we'll finish with this music. Go find Apples. Oh, looks like we're just in time for dinner, Apples. There you go. Well, that's pretty good. Yeah, sorry. I don't know what happened. I was caught up somewhere on the ranch. But I hear you talked all about it. All the Jews and stuff and psyops. If you got any more, maybe I'll learn how to give some kisses like Lucy.